Welcome back, Profit Quests family. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Now, I know that our channel is mostly centered around crypto airdrops, passive earning opportunities, and how to take advantage of the latest updates in the world of blockchain and Web3. But once in a while, I like to throw in something a little different, something for your entertainment. So today, we're diving into a gripping movie breakdown that I thought you'd enjoy. The story begins in the middle of the night at a university building. A security guard named Jill discreetly moves through the corridors and sneaks into a lab. With the help of a friend who turns off the surveillance cameras, she steals medicine from the expired bin. The next day, she sells the medicine to a man named Greg, though he gives her less money than they agreed upon. After this, she heads over to her mother-in-law Doris's house to pick up her two kids, Matilda and Noah. Doris mentions that Jill doesn't have full custody and reminds her to bring the kids back early. During the car ride, Jill tries to engage her children in conversation. Matilda responds cheerfully, but Noah is much more reserved. Suddenly, the car radio goes silent, and just then, another vehicle loses control on the road. Jill manages to avoid it, but a second car collides with them, sending their vehicle rolling down a hill and into a lake. Inside the submerged car, water starts to flood in. Jill quickly unbuckles her children and urges them to escape through the window. The current pulls her down, making her struggle to swim up, but she eventually reaches the surface and finds Noah floating beside her. Matilda is being resuscitated by two police officers on the shore. The officers tell her that the power is out across the entire city and urge her to go to the hospital due to a deep wound on her forehead. At the hospital, Jill notices a large number of injured people. Some men speculate that it might have been a terrorist attack because a regular power outage shouldn't have affected vehicles. Since Jill's wound isn't life-threatening, she ends up treating it herself. Then a commotion erupts when a woman begins shouting about a miracle. Jill rushes to see what's going on and discovers that all the coma patients in the hospital have suddenly woken up. Back at Doris's house, Jill learns that phones are down and stores are no longer accepting credit cards. Unfortunately, all of Jill's cash was lost in the lake. Given the circumstances, Doris allows Jill and the kids to spend the night. Unable to sleep, Jill goes to the living room and reflects on old pictures of her kids and her deceased husband. Doris joins her, and they discuss the difficulty of sleeping. Checking in on her daughter, Jill notices Noah is also awake. Together, they look up at the night sky and realize the shooting stars they see are actually falling satellites. When Jill heads to work the next morning, she notices that everyone in town is also struggling with insomnia. People are aimlessly wandering the streets, trying to stay occupied. She runs into Greg again, who is now desperate to buy more medicine, offering double the price. Jill agrees to try and get more later. When she arrives at the university, she finds the place empty. After her shift, she attempts to take more expired medicine from the lab, but is caught off guard when armed soldiers surround her. She quickly identifies herself as a former corporal to calm the situation. Dr. Murphy, who appears to be in charge, is disappointed in Jill's actions and offers her a spot on their research team, which she declines. Before leaving, Murphy instructs one of the men named Brian to bring Jill's family to their new research hub. Brian warns Jill about the effects of prolonged sleep deprivation, hallucinations, motor dysfunction, and ultimately death. He also informs her that only one woman has been able to sleep, and she is now under observation. Jill recalls that Matilda was asleep when she left home and becomes terrified that her daughter might be dead. She rushes back to Doris's house and finds Noah alone. Doris has taken Matilda to church. Jill quickly packs a few essentials and prepares to leave with Noah. But just as they're about to depart, Brian intercepts them, insisting that Matilda must be taken to the research hub. Jill refuses and flees with Noah, weaving through a town descending into madness. People are becoming violent and delusional, fighting and vandalizing out of sheer mental breakdown. Behind a dumpster, they find the sheriff's lifeless body. Jill tells Noah that this is what happens when the human brain is pushed too far without rest. Meanwhile, at the church, Doris brings Matilda to the pastor, who claims that Matilda's ability to sleep is a divine miracle. When Matilda wakes up, some of the congregants start pressing her to help them sleep too, and even consider sacrificing her like a savior. The situation escalates until Jill, Noah, and Brian arrive. The crowd is unsettled, and a cop nearly fires his weapon. The pastor tries to defuse the situation, but when Jill attempts to take Matilda, people resist, citing that she's still under Doris's legal care. Brian urges the people to bring Matilda to the scientist for study, promising a cure. But the pastor refuses, fearing she'll become a lab rat. The standoff ends tragically when the cop shoots Brian. Amid the chaos, Doris sneaks Matilda out a back door. Jill reunites with her daughter upstairs in the church and plans their escape, directing Noah to meet them in the forest. As they sneak out, the pastor is held at gunpoint by an officer demanding Matilda be handed over. Noah stumbles upon Brian's body and retrieves the address to the research hub from his pocket. The family escapes and takes shelter in a parking lot. Noah begs Jill to take Matilda to the hub, pointing out that she'll be all alone if everyone else dies. Jill reluctantly agrees. She goes to Greg's garage to find a car and stumbles upon a horrifying scene. Greg has been shot, and two robbers are nearby. She hides as one of them kills Greg with brutal force. Once they leave, she finds keys, takes a car, and picks up her kids. On the road, Matilda sleeps once again. Later, they pass the crashed car the robbers stole and find their corpses. Jill discovers the sheriff's badge and weapon on them, confirming they were responsible for his death. She takes the items and continues their journey. When they stop to rest, she reveals to Noah that Dr. Murphy once worked for the military, conducting unethical sleep deprivation experiments during war. It was Murphy who helped Jill get a job after her past with addiction. Despite Jill's hesitation, Noah insists they need to help Matilda save humanity. The next day, a group of deranged, unclothed people block the road and peer into the car at Matilda. The family drives on and finds an abandoned town. At the library, Jill is clearly unraveling. She tries to teach Matilda how to use a gun for self-defense, but the girl refuses. Frustrated, Jill fires shots at the bookshelves. Moments later, inmates from a nearby prison flood into town. While Jill and Noah are inside, someone steals their car, with Matilda inside. Jill fires a warning shot to stop others from taking Noah too, but she's out of bullets. As they brace to run, their car returns, driven by a man named Dodge. He rescues them, and as they drive away, Jill keeps him at gunpoint, which leads to a standoff and a near accident. Dodge eventually disarms her and goes to investigate a burned farm, where he changes clothes. Meanwhile, Jill teaches Matilda how to siphon gas. Dodge returns and agrees to take them to the hub, hoping to find a cure too. Jill even allows Matilda to drive for practice. Their journey is interrupted by a blockade made of trash, with savages hanging victims upside down to drain their blood. Terrified, Jill takes control of the car and drives over the trash pyramid. But the savages attack. They fight off the attackers, with Noah saving Matilda from one of them. Matilda then slams on the gas to escape. Eventually, they spot the hub's lights in the forest. They part ways with Dodge, and Jill instructs the kids to wait in an old shack while she scouts the area. After washing up at a river, she infiltrates the hub by sneaking under a bridge and entering with a password. She dons a lab coat to blend in and finds the sleeping woman. While pretending to collect blood samples, she notices the woman's arms are covered in needle marks. The woman confides that she was supposed to have died long ago and doesn't understand why she can sleep. Murphy catches Jill and pretends to be glad she's there. She reveals that they've developed a cocktail to preserve mental clarity, but it causes neurological damage. Jill realizes there may be no hope left. Suddenly, Dodge appears outside with the kids, firing flares. Jill runs to them, but is arrested. Matilda speaks up, claiming she can sleep, which spares them. The next morning, Matilda is examined. The scientists want to compare her brain to a monkey's, and she falls asleep easily under anesthesia. Meanwhile, Jill is locked up, hallucinating from insomnia. She sees Noah accusing her before he morphs into a soldier who takes the real Noah away. Outside, the situation deteriorates as soldiers go mad and start shooting wildly. Jill escapes when gunfire bursts a pipe. Dodge saves Noah from a deranged guard. Chaos spreads. Jill reaches the lab as Katz gives Murphy a lethal shot by injecting air into her vein. Jill frees Matilda and finds Noah hallucinating, touching wires. He is electrocuted and collapses. Jill and Matilda use a defibrillator to revive him, shocking themselves unconscious. Matilda wakes to find Jill cradling Noah, who finally opens his eyes. He's been asleep. They prepare to leave in a military vehicle. Matilda realizes that to sleep again, one must die and be brought back. She recalls her own revival at the lake and understands the pattern. Since Jill is nearly beyond saving, they take her to the lake, hold her underwater until she dies, and revive her, resetting her life to restore sleep. And that's the end of this gripping tale. Thanks again for sticking around, Profit Quests family. If you enjoyed this story, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And remember, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more content, both crypto-related and occasional treats like this one. Also, make sure to join our Telegram group using the link in the description. That's where I share the latest airdrops and valuable updates in the crypto space. See you in the next video.